Joining me now, author of The Trump Factor and member of President Trump's advisory board for re-election, Brad Thomas. Brad, good to see you.
Same here, Liz. Great to be on the show.
All right, Brad, this is quite interesting news. Reince Priebus is out. This follows the comments yesterday made by Anthony Scaramucci saying that he thought Priebus was a paranoid schizophrenic. I can't say it surprises me that Priebus is out. It does surprise me that President Trump is already appointing a new chief of staff in General Kelly.
Yeah, Liz, you know, it's interesting. Looking at your background, I looked at your background. I know you were the youngest zoning board member at 21 years old. And of course, my background has been in real estate as well, real estate development. So you know this very, very well. You know, Donald Trump, when he was in the business world, what he did is he had to find the right contractors and the right engineers and make, you know, these buildings that he built, he had to change those buildings. He had to change the contractors and the architects to make this product truly unique at the end of the day. So if you translate that to what's going on in the White House today, we are seeing a tremendous amount of reshuffling. But what we're seeing is Donald Trump trying to assemble this right team of people. And Scaramucci, again, I think he's definitely part of that team. I referred to him, actually tweeted about him last week when all that news broke, that he was like an Italian bulldog. And we're seeing this bulldog now, he's now unleashed in the White House, and he is gonna, you know, he's taking names. And so absolutely, I think you're seeing this plan, or there's really this blueprint of Donald Trump translate from his business career in real estate over to the White House. So this reshuffling is really no surprise to me.
No, and I'm not opposed to it. I've been saying for a couple of weeks now that President Trump does need to clean house and get some of these, I guess, politically minded, the people who are more interested in their own political agenda than they are, or their own political viability, I should say, than the conservative agenda. It's time to get rid of them. And it's not necessarily personal. You just have to assemble a team that's going to enact what you promised the American people. Listen, Scaramucci, though, I want to talk a little bit more about him. He is an interesting character, to say the least, a colorful character. I appreciate his desire to weed out these leakers, but do you think that the way he's going about it, that kind of harsher language or rhetoric, is that the way to do it?
Sure. Well, I know Mooch pretty well, and I've known him for a number of years. And again, he is a tough guy. He's obviously comes from the business background, as you know. And so I think what you're seeing today with him is you know, his number one job is to protect the President of the United States. And I think he's really been, you know, focusing on these leaks. I mean, that's really been one of the biggest issues that we've seen, you know, the drip, drip, drip that I'm sure you've talked about every day on your show. And again, that's really been a critical part of this. So I think, you know, he's there for one reason and one reason only. And I think, you know, he's frustrated with the leaks. The president's frustrated with the leaks. And you know, I think at the end of the day, that's what all this reshuffling is about. It really comes down to loyalty and President Trump taking those people that are most loyal to be inside that circle. There's one common ingredient that it takes to be inside this circle of the White House, and that's loyalty. And that's what we're seeing today. Those most loyal people will stay inside that circle.
Right, and perhaps that's who President Trump should have appointed from the beginning here. I mean, I have a list here of people who I think that President Trump should probably go ahead and fire. And it's not just a matter of loyalty. It's a matter of if they're good at their job, if they're actually helping enact from their various positions the conservative agenda that President Trump campaigned on. And that would be Priebus, obviously. It would also be Mitch McConnell, and now Senators Murkowski and Senator Collins. These people, I guess Senator McCain as well, who voted against Obamacare repeal. I mean, this is shocking to me, Brad, that we have a majority in the House, a majority in the Senate. We have a president who's willing and waiting to sign Obamacare repeal, and we can't get it done.
No, absolutely. I mean, this all goes down to that draining the swamp, and definitely we see that swamp needs to be drained. I was just as frustrated as you are with the vote yesterday, and again, I think that's you know, I think really what's time right now to me is I think we really need to focus on the most important aspect today, and really I think is the most important piece of this agenda is corporate tax. I've said this before on numerous other media channels. A rising tide lifts all ships. What really the focus right now is corporate tax. Liz, 6 months from now, we're not going to be talking about health care because this corporate tax is going to be the one differentiator that's going to move the market. It's going to make people put jobs back, you know, so people aren't as concerned. The one thing lacking from the health care bill is affordability. And by creating this tax plan and getting this tax plan done, I'm talking right now, focusing on this. This is the #1 objective. I don't think, Liz, we're going to be really as concerned with health care because people are most concerned with affordability. So job creation is #1. We had a great announcement this week with Foxconn. 13,000 jobs created in Wisconsin. More and more of this we're going to continue to see. 41 bills signed into law since Trump's been in the office. So he's been highly productive. Yes, he's cleaning shop. He's going to find the right people. Again, going back to the analogy of the real estate, he's going to find the right team to produce this high-quality asset and really make America great again.
Right. And listen, I'm not sure I entirely agree that the American people aren't going to care as much about health care 6 months from now unless Obamacare has been repealed, because Congress, I think, is out of touch in that exact respect. They think that it's not as important to the American people because Congress is exempt from the burdens that we're suffering. And we are suffering high premiums, high deductibles, the whole shebang. I don't need to go over the list here, but listen, you have some inside knowledge on the strategies that the president is going to be employing over the next couple of years. You're part of his advisory board for his reelection. Any idea how he is going to handle this healthcare fight going forward?
Again, I fully agree with you. It is. I didn't want to really understate that. I mean, healthcare is critically important. I have 5 kids as well, and healthcare is extremely important. Again, I think but the root of all this, whether it's healthcare, infrastructure, tax, most everything on the agenda comes down to this affordability issue. And job creation is really #1. So I guess my point is job creation is the focus. Donald Trump is going to be reelected again, and the way he's going to be reelected is through this job creation program. I certainly agree with you, healthcare. Healthcare is a very complicated issue, but if you look back again to Donald Trump's real estate portfolio, which I cover in great detail in my book, there's a lot of complicated issues when he built Trump Tower,
right,
and these various other properties. So it is a very complex issue, and
right,
he's bringing in the right team to do it. But again, I fully agree with you. It is important, but I think tax reform is really important and critical right now since we're moving on.
Right, right. And I understand that these type of negotiations, especially in the swamp that is Washington, D.C., are very complicated. They're messy. There's a 2 steps forward, 1 step back type of tactics that you have to use here. I just wish the Republicans as a whole, this is the House, the Senate, and even to some extent the executive branch and President Trump, I wish they had a clearer plan of action that we the people could get behind.